Tengo demasiado en qué pensar. Oye, mi Ulises, déjame empezar. Sí, déjame empezar. Vengo de la gran ciudad. Aquí es donde me gusta siempre estar. Tengo demasiado en qué pensar. Venga, Marcelo, déjame empezar. Crecí en la ciudad más contaminada del mundo. La que te arranca el alma cada segundo. La que es tan grande que ni yo me acostumbro. Ni la neta ni conozco estos rumbos. Mira, la distancia mínima ya suena al mercado. Dime si no has sido víctima de algún altercado. Aquí es donde un día de vacación lo pagas con tu vida. Donde hierve la nación y las familias son unidas. Todos los ejes tienen nombres de suicidas. Y la decisión que tomas puede ser la decisiva, mami. Aquí te fija el sol y otro día hay tanta lluvia. Donde el día hace rock and roll y nos encanta la cumbia. Diario es la misma chingadera. Que te pones pedo y amaneces sin cartera. Sigue esa vibra setentera. Que entre víboras me te enteras. Traza tu frontera.
Hey guys, welcome back to another live stream of Sin Filtro. This is your host Jay Vazquez. I'm excited to be here today. I have some really cool people here with me joining the table. We have DeeDee Garcia, Blase, award-winning independent producer and director. We have Adrian Garcia, AZ community artist, host of What's Good Phoenix podcast, our event consultant, and then last but never least, Adam Garrett, owner of Cage Heart. We'll also have some pretty interesting topics such as the Silicon Valley bank collapse, Jamie Lee Curtis winning her Oscar, and how Meta is no longer paying its creators to create reels. This is Sin Filtro. Stay tuned.
Stop! Okay. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I got here. The year is 2019, and I live like a king.
Hey, SVB. Looking good, Randall.
Investors love me. Conditions are perfect.
Hey, I just got $50 million in funding. Could I deposit in your bank?
And companies are getting more funding than ever.
What's your startup do? It's an app where you rate how hot people's daughters are without them asking. I went to Berkeley. Put it in. Oh, we're making some cash. Hey, let's put $80 million in mortgage-backed securities.
Oh, that sounds a little 2008, don't you think?
Nah, interest rates are down. We'll get a return of 1.5%. I like our odds.
I really don't.
Thank you.
Yep, life was pretty great as the 20th largest bank in the U.S., and nothing was going to ruin that.
Surprise! It's 2022, and you would not believe the price of eggs out there. 1 second. Okay, people did not like daughter rank. Could we have some money, please? Hey, let's sell some securities. Hey, what are you doing?
Sir, almost none of our deposits are insured.
If I tell you, you can't freak out. Okay. We are having a tiny liquidity crisis.
A what?
So we're just going to do a little bit of capital raising.
A liquidity crisis?
Not a crisis. No, it's not bad.
My stock is down today. Why could that be?
That money was for payroll, motherfucker. Okay, I won't raise any capital. Because we're exploring a sale. Okay.
I should be.
And yeah, just like the video says, he should be fine. But honestly, they've been blowing this topic out of proportion. It's just one bank, people. We have millions and millions of banks all over the world, all over the US. But interestingly enough, people are not really focusing on calling their bank or calling maybe if you have the money. If you have somebody who handles your finances, tell them what's up. But yeah, what do you guys think about this?
Well, I personally heard that Kirsten Sinema's hands are all over it, and the Ruben Gallego, who's a congressman who will be running for Senate, is just literally handing her own butt.
Yeah. I know
that's
you showed
what I
me
heard.
that article.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I caught a little bit about that this week. A lot of people are running to the bank, to their banks, and pulling out all of their money. In fear of losing their money. I do know that they're insured up to $250,000. I think it was. So it won't affect at least me. It's mostly like the people that are sitting in the banks with a lot of money and stuff. So, but yeah, it's definitely interesting. I think that when things happen like this, a lot of people just get really scared and nervous because it's retirement.
The news and everyone's like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, and then with social media and everything else, it just acts crazy. So.
I am a big proponent of crypto.
All right.
I like my Bitcoin.
Yeah, look at that.
Little banks like this going under give a bad name to Bitcoin. And Bitcoin, I think, is going to be around for a long time. There's other cryptos that I like. But you know, SVB was over leveraged and they screwed themselves up, and that's what happens to a bank like that. I mean, they have to have they have to have accountability for what they're doing, and that's the plain fact.
Yeah, I hope you guys understood the concept of that skit from Morning Brew. The creator who created that video was like, you know, they weren't really caring. They were just like, yeah, throw it in. And yeah, I mean, everything has its consequences. But thank you guys for sharing your point of view. And then next topic is Jamie Lee Curtis winning her Oscar. So we have a video here, courtesy of ABC YouTube, and we'll have it up right now. And so yeah, it was a really good video. I loved it because she shared a lot and a lot of emotion. You guys will see it right now. She congratulated all her teams throughout her career. We know she's been in film for forever, but here is the video.
Jamie Lee Curtis made her big screen debut in the horror classic Halloween. 45 years later, she was an executive producer on the final installment, Halloween Ends.
Stop! I have 45 seconds, and I promised Janet Yang I wouldn't do it well because I'm a good girl. I know it looks like I'm standing up here by myself, but I am not. I am hundreds of people. I'm hundreds of people. I am where are the Daniels? Daniels, Jonathan, Leyline, the entire crew, my bae Michelle, Key, Steph, the entire group of artists who made this movie. We just won an Oscar. To my dream team, my agent Rick Kurtzman, Alan Wertheimer, Heidi Schaefer, Sean James, Grace Ahn, Jane Ross. We just won an Oscar. To my family, my beautiful husband, Christopher Guest. Our daughters, Annie and Ruby. My sister Kelly, we just won an Oscar. To all of the people who have supported the genre movies that I have made for all these years, the thousands and hundreds of thousands of people, we just won an Oscar together.
Was two.
So yeah, the trending, sorry about that. The trending topic about Angela Batte's reaction to Jamie Lee Curtis winning the award. I mean, if you could see, she was just like. But yeah, how do you guys feel about how do you feel about Jamie Lee Curtis winning her award?
I could feel her emotion, and I think one of the biggest takeaway from Jamie winning the Oscar was she said we won an Oscar. So it's not like I. She included her team, and I'm so happy for her. On the other hand, with Angela Bassett, not for sure what happened there.
She's probably thinking about like what she's gonna eat that night.
Maybe,
you know,
maybe, yeah.
Maybe if they went to go pick up her cleaners.
Yeah.
I just, I don't want to feed too much into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, but honestly, congratulations to her. I'm so happy also for Brendan Fraser winning an Oscar as well. Lots of great energy there. If you guys want to share something about the Oscars.
What do you guys think about Jamie Lee Curtis?
Being a longtime fan from Halloween, that's one of my favorite horror movies. Very talented actress. Also, another favorite of mine is Trading Places. That's an old, like a comedy, if you remember that. But these are why the Oscars are created, for people to win the awards and to just validate everybody, man, that has helped her win this, because I feel like everybody felt like they won together with her. So
and I love that she.
It's an achievement. It's great.
Her team, like it wasn't like me, and it was just like just like everybody.
Yeah. And she looks great too.
Yeah, she looks great.
Yeah, she looks really good.
Well, that's what I'm going to touch on. Her legs should win Best Supporting Role for her cast in Trading Places.
Yeah.
I mean, she was smoking hot. She should have had 6 Academy Awards before this.
I agree.
But what is nice is the way she reached out to everybody and talked about it, and the way that Everything Everywhere All at Once swept it. It's a great movie, and it was fun, and it was totally all-inclusive.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And so, well, next topic is Meta announces no longer offering bonuses to its creators for creating what they call the Reels. I know, like, the other platforms are calling it their TikToks. YouTube calls it its Shorts. But the program was introduced in 2021, and it is no longer active. Apparently, it's a big blow to a bunch of creators on Instagram. So now, instead of you incentivizing yourself to create your own brand, your own business, I would say you have to have corporations, businesses right behind you, supporting you, and honestly, it's terrible. It's terrible. And I don't know if do you guys create Reels, TikToks, YouTube?
Yeah,
Shorts?
I do, but I haven't personally received a dime, so I'm cool. I mean, it's unfortunate for the other creatives, but the good thing about this is we got to look at the glasses half full, and there's healthy competition out there. So if Instagram isn't going to do it or Facebook, then they can go on to TikTok.
To the other platforms.
So, and this is a topic that I've been kind of following for a while. YouTube actually picked up on that, and they have their carousels now. If you're a big YouTube user like myself, I catch myself using more of the carousels now than actually seeing videos. So it's kind of like, and they are still continuing to pay and things like that. And I have friends that do create the content and stuff that they do for TikTok, and which I tried, which was just too much for me. It's very overwhelming. The Instagram Reels is amazing. I like it. It's fun. DeeDee does a great job on the Reels. I mean, for all the planters that were done on Grand Avenue, were just amazing. I couldn't wait. I saw everybody else's. I saw my own. Yeah, so she should get a cut for that. For for the Reels that she created. So
it's a work of art. To
be
honest.
Yeah.
Nice. I got no love for Meta, but I also don't post a lot. I dig what YouTube is doing. I should be more proactive in Reels and posting, but I'm still a little bit old school. So I figure, I'm just going to throw out my art and do my thing and let the world catch up to me.
Absolutely.
But I do need to get in step a little more technologically.
Oh, okay. Yes, we're all there. I mean, it takes so much time to learn how to make these videos. We see them and we don't know the work, right? The work behind it.
Yeah.
But there are people getting paid out there. They make careers out of this.
Yeah.
But
They should
stuff
be
like
getting
this, it's
paid.
like, come on, Meta.
And they're quick. They're fast. What takes me, usually I post every Tuesday, and I have a certain time that I post between 9 and 11. But you've got people that are posting 4 times a day, and they're quick with it, fast. I have, a friend of mine that goes through it so quick, and I'm like, damn, that is fast. Between using the music and the moving emojis and the things like that, the GIFs or whatever you want to call them, man, that's quick. And then he was getting a percentage for that. He showed me how he gets money off that. I'm like, wait a minute, man, I want to do that. But then when I tapped into TikTok, it was just too much. I'm like, because it's like an engine that just wants to feed to get the content out. And I wasn't. I had too many other platforms I was using.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And so, I mean, sad news, but we just got to keep going. We got to keep creating however we can. And so we'll continue the interview today. Stay tuned. We're going to take a commercial break.
Ven y visítanos. En URide tenemos la mejor opción para ti. Los únicos requisitos para financiar un vehículo con URide son los siguientes. 1. Identificación o licencia de conducir vigente. 2. Prueba de ingresos, talones de cheques, estados de cuenta o cartas de trabajo. 3. Prueba de dónde vives. Cualquier comprobante reciente con tu dirección actual. 4. 6 referencias personales. Llámanos para más información al 602-944-1359.
Visítanos en nuestras 2 locaciones, 9630 Norte de la la 19 Avenida en Phoenix, Arizona, y en el 2602 West Van Buren Street.
En New Right somos tu mejor opción.
¡Te esperamos!
And we're back on Sin Filtro. Today, I already introduced them in the beginning, but they need another introduction. DeeDee Garcia, Adrian Garcia, and Adam Garrett, three amazing artists doing a lot of work here in Phoenix, Arizona. And one of the main things that I brought them out here for is for something they're doing here, very historic. They're curating the Planter Project on Grand Avenue. If you've ever been here in Phoenix, Arizona, there is something called Grand Avenue, and there's planters there, but part of it is the amazing work that is being done on these planters, and I mean, we'll talk about it more, but how are you guys doing today?
Good.
Great,
good.
thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you guys for coming by, and I wanted to just get the audience to know you guys a bit better. If you guys can share a little bit of your work, what you guys do, and so yes.
Yeah. So I was tasked with curating the new Grand Avenue urban planters that you can now see between Roosevelt Street, and Van Buren. And so we had 28 new urban planters shipped, and so what I had to do is curate artists who wanted to participate in this community project. So what I kind of wanted to do is add some spray painters into the mix. Adrian is a spray painter, and Adam has a studio on Grand Avenue, so I tried to get local artists to participate. So that was my job, connecting the planter to the artist, and so let's pass the baton.
So my name is Adrian Garcia. I also go by AWER. I am a Phoenician graffiti artist, muralist for over 40 years. I am also the host of What's Good Phoenix podcast, along with my friend DJ Transil. Shout out to Transil. Yeah. And what I do, I'm a community artist, and a community artist for me is basically working with community, coming into their neighborhoods and kind of seeing what their history is and what they'd like to see, rather than me coming in as artist and doing what I want. Yes. So the last 6 years, I've met so many great people and have had some very good stories, and my journey is amazing. I met DeeDee with this project, and it was just amazing to be a part of it. You know what I mean? Just to hear about it. I was doing a workshop with Buds on Grand, and I was doing a workshop with some kids for the Grand Unification event that they had, and I just noticed these planters. And I've seen them before, but they were freshly painted. You know what I mean? And there was like there was new plants in them and everything, and it was just amazing. I just was asking, I asked, Greg over at Buds, like, hey man, these are cool, man. Who do I get a hold of to doing this? And I think Beatrice was there too, actually, and she was decorating one of the trees out there, and same thing. And what I did is I just connected. Madman was another one, the artist that also had let me know who to get into contact with, and I did. And I said, was any kind of availability on perhaps painting one? At the time, I wasn't trying to get paid, although I'm a full-time artist. I just wanted to be a part of the project because I knew how special it was, and something was just drawing me to it, And then I just said, I found her. Wasn't for sure it was her Instagram. I sent a message, and then we connected, and then it just started to grow into where we're at now, with it having 75 total, correct? But 28 new ones. Wow. Yeah, it was amazing. Great project.
Awesome. Thank you.
Nice. Good going, Adrian. Yeah. Thank you, DeeDee, for asking me. Yeah, my name's Adam Garrett. I got a little spot called Cage Heart Gallery at 1325 Desert Sun Plaza. I moved to Phoenix 4 years ago from Los Angeles. I grew up in places like Santa Barbara, Ojai, Ventura County, and I was big into hot rod culture, rockabilly, punk rock, and that's where I get my inspiration.
Are you still punk rock?
I am still punk rock, right? In my heart, in my core, even though I'm wearing a little Hawaiian shirt, that's the 2023 punk rock flair for me. So I moved out here, and I was derailed by the restaurant business for some number of years. I thought that's who I was going to be. That's what I was doing. And some things changed, and someone told me to go down to a place on Grand called Hawk Salvage. So I went and I showed Hawk some of my artwork, and he told me, I'll hang this artwork in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And I was thrilled. And then I drove down the street and I saw this big word, shops on this wall. So I found out where to go. I love the energy of this neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I had to have more of that because I was used to having that kind of energy in Venice and Hollywood and Melrose. And I needed that kind of vibe because I was lacking that energy and that artistic flow and influence in my life. So I got my shop and just went full bore into it and met DeeDee, and she asked me to do one of the planters.
Yes.
And I just said yes because that's my thing. Just say yes to everything. And do every next project and get down into it and doing some hand-painted artwork and really enjoying it and just taking on all comers, and whatever's coming next I'm down for.
Let me add to
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
So Adam had just moved to the Desert Sun Plaza, 1325 Grand Avenue, and he has an art studio there, and that's when I saw his artwork with regard to these cars.
Yeah.
And I'm a big fan of the Mercuries and the bombs, the bombas. And I was like, wow, can you do that on Grand Avenue? And like, I was just, wow. I love the Mercury and the cars, obviously. I just bought one.
Yeah.
So he did a bomba,
Yeah.
a Mercury.
I think you're like
Kind of the wayward.
That's awesome.
your art heart kind of talks. We talk amongst each other, but I think there's another like vibe that talks with his art, with her, you know what I mean, just interest in that. And there's a conversation that happens here that actually like manifests and it actually works. You know.
Yeah, so we'll have their Instagram socials. So you guys have a style to this art that you guys are approaching. And I know artistry, you can approach it more than a million ways. But how did you guys come up with your art approach? Like, where did it come from? How was it created?
The style of the planter
Yes.
that I did. Oh man, it was an easy one for me because currently right now I have a mural that's in my backyard. They're chocolate covered strawberries.
Oh, wow.
And I got to paint over that pretty soon because I have a grandson that's on the way, and he'll be here on May 5th, a new one. And in the graffiti culture, when you have a newborn, you paint their name.
Nice.
So I have to paint over this, and I've been kind of the last few months, you know what I mean, debating on my backyard which mural to go over. But I wanted to continue. If when I went over it, I wanted to continue that somewhere to where my grandson can see that, my family can still see that. So when my approach to the piece was easy. I said, you know what, the planter is made of concrete and stuff, and the top has the plants and stuff. I'm just gonna make it like a strawberry.
Just by looking at it, you're already like.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, and then another piece that I have. Another I guess style I do is I'm known for doing like a lot of ladybugs and things like that. My daughter was called Ladybug by her mom when she passed away. My daughter was 8 years old, so I've continued to paint ladybugs like all the time in my art somehow. And that's another one. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a ladybug with water drops, and I'm known for that too. My style is a lot of water drops, a lot of like
3D effect.
yeah, like 3D and stuff. And I loved the project. I had fun with it. I mean, we were painting across from each other and we were laughing. I was waving to her, and it was cold. It was crazy. It was the most beautiful day. If you look at the clouds, and then she caught all the clouds too in the video and stuff. But it was fun, and it just made sense for me to do that, to carry something, a part of that mural, to Grand Avenue, like carry my heart and put it there. So I have that there, and
That's
it's
awesome. See, like you're adding a piece to like a historic place. And
yes,
And
yeah.
it's across the street from the church on Grand Avenue. And what street?
DeeDee knows where it's at.
Yeah, I'm not sure. But it was it felt good. It felt good to be there, you know what I mean? Like DeeDee was amazing, just great vibes coming over, and she was stopping at her piece and coming over checking on me and making sure. I had a friend stop by and just offer me like help, like, you know, he brought me food and everything else. Just community was just coming together, people were honking, and it just was a great feeling, you know. So that was my style and why I thought of that, you know.
Thanks for sharing, Adam.
Thank you.
Right on. Well, you know, I started painting. I've always drawn. I've always been an artist, since I was born. But I started painting when I first moved out to an apartment, and I couldn't afford buying the prints that I saw at the mall. I was like, these are too expensive. So I started getting, the little cheap paints from Michael's, got a canvas and started painting, and realized that I could actually cover a canvas with beautiful acrylic paint and come up with something out of my mind. And, my buddies all had hot rods, or most of them had a few hot rods, and I dug the hot rod scene. So I wanted to do an entire series of just bombers, lowriders, old school cars, and I like to fill up the image with a lot of storyline behind it, because I don't want to leave the canvas static. I like to make something behind it, and I come up with these ideas, and I have an entire 2-3 paragraphs of who the characters are and the story and the painting. And so that's initially how I started coming up with my hot rod style. And I'm about to do a bunch of them because I need to do about 3 or 4 for a new upcoming show that's going to be at Hawk Salvage. And I promised him that I would get down with some big bombers and some low riders and some really large scale car stuff, not walls, but large scale canvases. And that's where I'm going.
You're a car enthusiast.
I love cars.
Yeah. DeeDee loves cars as well, right?
Yeah, I just bought one at Barrett Jackson, a nice Cadillac.
It's a beauty.
Nice.
Awesome. So what would you say then is, what was your guys' initial push to be like, you know what, I'm going to pursue this. I'm going to pursue the art, pursue the work that needs to be done to put this out there?
For, just in general, for like our art itself? For me, I was an artist, an active artist when I was younger, and I traded one passion for another. My daughter was born in 1995, Sierra Garcia, and she was born, and during that time, there was a lot of, the graffiti culture wasn't getting as much love as it is now, you know what I mean? So with that said, I left it, you know what I mean? I left it respectfully to, now where she moved out the house, has her family, everything else, I came back because I just have unfinished business, you know what I mean? And I wanted to create, I wanted to come back. It's a total different, scene now with graffiti art, spray can art, everything. Even as far as I started dabbling into becoming a muralist and stuff. But what I wanted to do is I had a mission to just create. I just wanted to create. I want to leave little things around the valley for my grandson when he grows up to find these little things. Yeah. There's this thing I do for him every year is I paint a mural in my backyard for him. I write his name. Every year he gets a new one, so that's like a gift. And I get a canvas and I tape the canvas to the wall, and then I paint the mural. And then what I do is I give him the canvas. So when he gets older, when he's like 18, 19, he'll have 19 different canvases from that original painting. So I do that for him. But I mainly came back because I wanted to share my love for the art and to meet other artists and people. And and it's been an amazing journey. The story that I have with Adam is amazing. If I could share that,
please.
Yeah, man. So this is crazy. So just like I met DeeDee and stuff, just putting it out there and talking about it and manifesting it, I met her. Then I did a project with her. Well, he had did a project for the American Legion Post 1 with DeeDee. And I saw the reel that she made. I saw just how happy he looked and how confident he looked and everything. And I loved it. I loved the piece. My dad was a past commander at American Legion Post 41. And I am a son of a Legion, so I have ties to the American Legion. So when I saw that, I was like, that's very awesome. That's very, very noble. So anyways, a few weeks ago, I got called by Audrey over at Desert Sun Plaza at 3G Vintage to do a project for her. And I went to go give her a quote. And I was kind of walking around, feeling the vibes of the spot. And we happened to walk by his studio, but just walk by it. You know what I mean? I was in a whole different.
I think the energy was bringing you in.
Yeah, but it was weird because I was on a mission where I was scoping out the spot to look what could we create, what could we do, and then this voice, I heard this voice call.
By.
Yeah, he's like, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I remember him saying, "Come on in, come look at our work." So I got drawn in. I got pulled into his space, and I saw his art, and I saw everything, all the allegory art. Like he has these images of it's a car, then it's all this other stuff going on, which I can't. It's hard for me to do that. So I saw all that and everything else, and then I was talking to him and just putting everything together. I'm like, I know you, man. I saw you with the planet. I was like, American Legion, the planet, DeeDee. Yeah, everything. So it connected. So it's really awesome. We connected, and that's part of meeting like other artists that vibe with you. And there's something just in the air, man, that just connects you with people all the way till now. We're sitting here with each other and we're doing the podcast together. And it's amazing how you just see that trail, man. It just boom, 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 just goes everywhere. You know what I mean? So, and I know that all the other artists that were part of the Planter Project with DeeDee have stories. They have their own individual stories, all the way from, some of the things they couldn't have used, or, the designs they came up with and stuff, and the obstacles that they had. But it was just an amazing time. It was an amazing
and
time.
those restrictions, for the record, I didn't set those rules. I did not set those rules.
We don't like rules here.
Yeah. But, I mean, these were already the rules in place, and...
Yeah.
Gotta work with them.
Might not
but
like
we kind of bent some rules.
You gotta follow them. You might not like them, but
we bent some.
So how about you, Adam? What was your initial push for you to pursue your art?
Well, like I said, I was derailed by the restaurant business. I'd been painting since the 90s. I used to do community events in LA. I used to do weekly, monthly, annual, different things like that all the time. And I used to hustle all the time. I'd pack it up in my van and break out the canopy and do all those. And I was very consistent. But then, sometimes, work and career gets in the way. Yeah. So I had a grip of artwork already done, and it was sitting in my spare room, just getting dusty. Yeah. And I couldn't reconcile with leaving my artwork sitting in there.
It's like a baby, like a child.
Yeah, it needs to be seen by the world. It needs to see the world. And I just had to get it out there and give it one solid push again. And, I have a lease for a year, and I'm already preparing to do my second year lease because I love what's going on. Yep. And I know that it's, I watch other people on Insta and other things, and I'm like, how can I ever get that good? But then I hear them talk, and they're like, oh, I've been doing this for 6 years, 8 years, 10 years. So I got to give myself a little break that I've only been hustling since October of this year. So I'm just like a little baby on the scene. 5 months old, and so I gotta crawl a little, and then eventually in a year or two maybe I'll run. Yeah, so that was my push.
I think as artists, we see the world a lot different than a lot of people do. As much as as musicians, and
you say it feels very lonely.
No, it's too much going on.
Too much. Okay.
There's colors and shapes and everything that you're seeing, and I could make this and I could do that, or I could I'm always getting inspired from everything, but when you're lost and sometimes you don't have the guidance or the recipe, I always fall back on God's creation, his color palette, and I never fail. Wow. That's why when I go to, when I do a ladybug, if I'm painting one, well, if I look at a ladybug, he was the initial painter. He created that. So look at animals and everything else, and when you start doing that, you look at hummingbirds, and you paint that way, you'll never fail because you're not making things up. So when you look to nature, that's when I start doing. That's why when I go to Desert Botanical Garden, or something like that, that's like, even, I'm not kidding, man, even Walmart, walking through and seeing all the colors, I'm stuck there. And not because I like plants. I do, but I'm just saying, all that is just inspiring, where I take a lot of pictures of certain things or the way so we see it differently, than a lot of people. And we're constantly sketching, drawing, putting notes on our phones, ideas. And then when it's nice when you see another artist and I'm seeing what Adam's putting in his mind. Like, how do you do all this? You know what I mean? How do you use a spray can? How do you do this? You know what I mean? So it's a different world with artists and musicians and everything else. And I think it's a blessing. That's why I continue to reach out and meet new emerging artists and help them with their confidence and giving them a platform to create, although they're nervous, and I just help them. You know what I mean? There's a big event coming this weekend, the Oak Street Mural Festival that I'm a part of, which it's in the Coronado district, the historic district. Yeah. They have it every year, and they have some featured artists that are painting this year. I was in 2019, but that community is insane. Like, just the the support they have for the art community, whether it's, they live in the neighborhood or not. They have artists from all over the state, from the United States, everywhere that comes in and just paints a residential wall. And I'll be painting there this weekend on Saturday.
Nice.
With a lot of new emerging artists that I've met that I'm able to give those spaces to. They've never painted murals before. You know what I mean? And then I'm also a curator at my cousin's coffee shop, Tres Leches. Yeah, and every Sunday, shout out to ET, Tres Leches. And every Sunday, there's a new artist there, whether they're new, whether they've been around, whatever, to showcase their time, their art. And usually they're doing things around like our culture, Mexican culture, cafecito, or something growing up on, that you saw when you're growing up. Yeah. It could be something very simple as pan on a plate and a coffee, you know what I mean? But those are the kinds of things that, as an artist, I'm blessed to have many opportunities like I've had or people I've met that I try to keep that going with other people, so.
Yeah, so I would say, like, for me, like, growing up in Phoenix since I was, like, 3 years old, that's the only thing that I've seen that sort of has that resemblance to me, to my culture.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in the American culture, and
yeah.
seeing that, it's like, wow, I didn't know that. I didn't know that it takes that effort to create that and have a place for it.
In my time, I'm 47 years old. I'm going through like a decolonization myself, so I'm starting to learn more about my history, my Mexican roots, the artwork, the music, and I am actually like submerging myself into the lowrider culture. I don't have a lowrider car, you know what I mean? But not yet. You know what I'm saying? Or you
can ride mine.
Or the rockabilly lifestyle or something, because I'm just and just different things, but mainly like my culture. You know what I mean? Foods, different foods and stuff like that. And I just I love it. You know what I mean? I just have some places where I want to go to or want to know more about me. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know like it had a backstory to it, to like Tres Leches and the art and the murals and all these stuff that I'm seeing that I'm like, I don't even know about it, but it looks amazing. It looks great. Yeah. And earlier you mentioned how graffiti had this like stigma back then. So how did you overcome a situation like that?
Well, there's always been, individuals here, friends of mine that have, put in a lot of work. In particular is the Nitty Gritty crew, which is here, and they started doing a lot of murals and graffiti art back in the 90s, and they really just contributed so much. La Locota, Breeze, amongst others and stuff, where they just kind of they kept the culture alive and going, and that's why you see a lot of these murals today that are all over Phoenix. You got to give credit to those guys that continued that, to continue that. So coming back, flash forward, going through 20 years out the game, all of a sudden it's accepted. You know what I mean? You've got food trucks, you've got restaurants.
Now it's hip.
It's hip. It's everywhere. A lot of the graffiti shops that we have here in town have everything for the newer graffiti artists that they don't have to either make, they don't have to like steal. There's a lot of things that are just so different. So my first to submerge back into the scene was being a part of Oak Street Mural Festival and seeing all this just graffiti writers and artists and the artists with paintbrushes and all this, just everything was going on. And I think what was happening is if you look at it nationwide, it's just a movement.
Yeah.
It's a movement of not only graffiti art, but art. Everybody wants it. So coming into that, I'm like always booked, Airbnbs, residential, stuff like that. And I always question like, why is it? Because it's the time for it right now.
It changed a lot.
Yeah, it's on the light rail. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like if you look at all the big murals that are here in town, everywhere people are wanting it, and there's a lot of Phoenix Arts and Cultures does a really good job on putting out like call to artists and things like that, and just getting everybody like, let's go. You know what I mean? And we have the people here. We don't have to parachute a lot of people from different cities. We have the talent here. You know what I mean? The Super Bowl was prime example of that. You know what I mean? La Morena and everybody, they painted and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Their whole entire crew, shout out to that crew for what they did and how they held it down. You know, she was the first woman artist to paint on the Super Bowl ticket. I mean, that's amazing. Those are
had that announcement on the show.
yeah, and that's a huge achievement. As an artist, I was like in awe for like a week. But what was also so great about her being, you know, indigenous and Mexican, and her being a woman, you know what I mean, that was just, it was a local. You know what I mean? Somebody from Phoenix did that. You know what I mean? And so it was just amazing. So it's just a lot more accepted now. You know what I mean? So, but I do like shout out, man, to all the people that just kept it going all throughout these years, you know, so.
Definitely, shout out to them. And for Adam, so Adam, how did you overcome something big in your career, in your art?
Well, I wanted to piggyback on what Adrian was saying. You know, a lot of these things that were fringe movements, you know, it took a long time for people to push through the initial obstacles and the pushback that they received. So, you know, same with punk rock and roll in the early days, graffiti. You know, at first nobody wants it, they don't accept it. And then with time, suddenly you start to see, you know, punk rock on TV commercials, graffiti is on the biggest, you know, the biggest .com buildings in the country. Yep. And, you know, tattoos, suddenly everybody has a tattoo. You know, I used to get sent home from school for having an earring. Wow. So, you know, it takes time for society to catch up with what people really want and what makes them happy, and artistic creativity. I mean, that's basically it. What did I push through? I mean, you know, for me, it's my obstacle was getting out of, you know, the previous career and getting into art and realizing that I only want to do art. I only want to sustain myself through creativity, and that if I'm not going to the shop on a daily basis and creating something, then my day is lacking significantly. Yeah. And so, you know, that's all I do is I just push through to make sure I create something on a daily basis.
Thank you. So now next question then, what is your biggest achievement, goal, something on your bucket list that you've been able to accomplish with what you've got going on in your art?
For myself?
Yes.
Oh man. Okay, so the achievements I've already done.
The biggest one that you like, that you were like, yes, like I got it.
I did a mural for Amazon Fulfillment Center.
Okay.
I painted a mural for Amazon. Yeah, that was huge. I had a really good friend of mine, Larry. He goes by Crazy, in my crew, and he assisted me on that too. But that was amazing, man. All the way from the phone call that I got. So I thought somebody was pranking me. You know what I mean? And they brought me in, and that's one of my, I'd say top 3 that I. But anyways, so I got called in, and I thought it was a joke all the way till I got to the door, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna walk in, and they're gonna send me out. So I sat down with the lady that commissioned me, and we sat down, and she basically she's been following me. She's been looking at my art. She wanted to just kind of freshen up this place. She showed me around, and I'm like, damn, this is real. Yeah. I'm like, okay, and the walls that she was showing me, I was just writing down the notes. I was taking the photos. I was walking around. I'm like, oh my God, you know what I mean? This is huge. And I wasn't doing big scale murals like that, you know what I mean? But I knew, who am I going to pass this off to? This is mine right now. Yeah. You know what I mean? So with that said, we sat down, and I wanted to kind of brainstorm with her, and she wanted graffiti. She wanted the look. She's like, I want what you do. And I'm like, wow, okay. So she wanted like, you know, some desert, you know, scene.
Like Amazon.
No, each one is named differently. Yeah. So they were called Amazon Phoenix 7 Storm, because at every different fulfillment center they're named. So she said, I'm cool with the graffiti letters and everything you want to do, but you have to make it legible, because Jeff Bezos comes in here, and you know we don't want to, you know, get him to paint over everything. And I'm just like, and I'm like, I'm like, who's Jeff? I go, who's Jeff Bezos? Yeah. I you know what I mean? I don't know. Yeah, seriously. And this is how naive I know. I'm like, okay, cool. So anyways, it was a 3-week project. Now looking back at it, you know, I mean, I should have made more money than what I did, but I painted everything from the human resource kind of desk they have that's wrapped. I did a huge big wall for them. I did their break room. I mean, it was nonstop. Like it just was like, I felt like I was living there.
What style was it? Like a graffiti sort of stuff?
It was like just like the desert landscape that you would see typically. You know, the you got a saguaro cactus, and then we had downtown, the silhouette of downtown Phoenix, and then we had the setting sun. There was setting. There was setting, and then I had a bunch of other things, like I think it was like a light post or something where they're at, like a street name or something, and everything else was just it was amazing, man. And it was crazy because everybody thought it was wrapped, you know, because they got a quote that was like 70 grand to get wrapped, and I did everything in paint in 3 weeks. You know what I mean? So that's not what I got, not even close to that. But they got a deal. Yeah. So that was one of them. I did a mural for Walmart. It's the one in Avondale. I did a mural in there as well. That was huge. But there's one that just it's a story in itself, man. And with just touching on it briefly, is during the time of COVID, I was contacted by she was a retired Air Force general. And again, I got the call, and I'm just like, this can't be true. This is not happening.
It's Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, man. So she told me that she had, they had opened up a cemetery. Well, not opened up a cemetery, but they have, how do you say? There was
They had like the space.
They had the space, yeah, and it was basically like a cremation area, you know what I mean, a scatter garden where you throw, you know, not throw, but put the ashes for your loved one for the military, and it's located in Belmont and Flagstaff up north. And she basically kind of told me what she wanted and what she wanted to see on a little 4-foot pony wall, and I was just like, wow. And my dad is retired Air Force, so it was a really great project. What should have took 3 days took 6 months.
6 months.
Yeah, we had a lot of challenges. We had like our first day it snowed. You know what I mean? We had everything from all the creatures and critters, you know.
I forgot you deal with the weather because you're outside.
Yeah, and that's what I teach too, because I also teach how to do murals and stuff too. I teach people like the elements that we face. You know what I mean? Like when you're a canvas artist, all you're painting is canvas. You're painting a wall, which is a bigger canvas, but there's texture. And you got bugs, you know what I mean? And then you're working with elements. There's a lot of things that are going on. So during that process of that wall with my team, I took it to 6 months, and it was just special. It was special because of my dad and because everything that was, I had so much time. Like, it was very quiet at times. We were painting till like 2 a.m. Wow. It was dark. And if you know, like up north, and all you hear is trains, you know, but then you hear things and it's kind of crazy. But those are my top 3, you know.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing. Adam, biggest bucket list stuff you've done.
Well, you know, since I'm a little beginner here, I'm trying to catch up to some of these things, but I've painted a spec painting on canvas that I'm going to propose to a local business to see if I can get them to do a mural, and it's huge. So I haven't even taken a digital scan of the site yet, but it could be 180 feet long by 30 or 40 feet tall. Wow. And it would require, you know, I couldn't do it myself. I mean, I could, but it would take the next 3 months or more. So I would do it with a collab with a bunch of different artists, some pros, some students, try and figure out who would mesh together best and want to get involved in something like this. So this is the next hurdle that I plan to jump over. And so that's going to be my next bucket list thing. But that's just the beginning. Every morning I tell myself, this is just the beginning. So that's how I try and stay focused and stay humble and just try and get down to doing some painting.
But let me, since he's being too humble, he did do a mural for the American Legion Post #1, which is the oldest American Legion in the state of Arizona. And I'm a member of that. I transferred my membership from Post 41 to 1. Because it's on Grand Avenue, and there's some really exciting projects coming up with that post. But it's one of the oldest. There's 3 American Legion Post #1s, but the Arizona one is the oldest. So it's very prestigious. And he was commissioned by the vice commander to do a tank and the American flag. And as I overheard Adam telling the vice commander, I learned something new.
All right.
To me,
share.
it's something near and dear to my heart is people who who volunteer for the service, and I found out that just overhearing his conversation with the vice commander that his dad fought the Nazis. He was a Purple Heart, and he fought the Nazis in a major world war. So, you know, that is, I mean, come on. His dad was part of, like, that. I mean,
very powerful.
That's why I joined the military.
How it gets connected, you know, it has a lot of story to it. And it's great how you guys are now adding on to something historic here on Grand Avenue. So how does it feel to be a part of it now?
Man, to me, I've watched patiently the last 6 years since I've been back, all the beautiful art that's on Grand Avenue. I never force myself upon projects like this or anything. I wait my turn. Yeah. You know what I mean? That's if you're even making enough noise to even have that opportunity. But with this opportunity, I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to just hear about it, you know what I mean, if I could or whatever. But to have a piece on historic, two actually, pieces on the Grand Avenue, is just amazing. I have lots of love for Vegas. That's like my second home. So it's like it starts there. It starts there and goes all the way.
Yeah,
you know.
Grand Avenue takes you to Vegas.
Yeah. So it's just amazing, man. When I drive through and I see all the other artists and where mine is positioned, and it feels good. That time was all the way from buying the supplies. I mean, the challenges that I had. I mean, I threw my back out during that time. Afterwards, after I was done painting, I was sick for a while, you know what I mean? Because I was out there painting with, not a jacket on and things like that. But it just, to have that little piece, just those two, not a big mural, it wasn't nothing. It was just a little planters was good enough for me. You know what I mean? Even asking DeeDee too, like, who's gonna water the plants? You know what I mean? Do I water them? I don't mind. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a part of me is on Grand Avenue with a lot of great artists and a lot of great history. Yes. And I'm glad to have been a part of the project, starting from doing a workshop with kids, you know what I mean, how everything kind of turned into the way it did, meeting DeeDee and now being friends and stuff like that, meeting Adam and everything. So it's just a lot. It's just a lot that added to my life, you know?
Yeah.
Well, I am stoked to have done two planters as well. I did one, it's a big red hot rod with a happy couple cruising along in it. And then on the back side of it is a Pachuco couple right in front of the Wayward. And I just figured it was cool. It represented my artwork, but it also represented the neighborhood. One of my all-time favorite movies is Zoot Suit with Edward Olmos. Man, if you ever get a chance to sit down and watch that movie, it is mind-blowingly done well. The dancing, the characters, the portrayal. So that was a big influence on that one. And then I also did the tank down the street. And I dig what's going on with Grand Avenue. And I'm thrilled to be meeting all the different artists and the different shops that are going on and the vibe and the energy that people get.
It's changing.
It's changing. Yeah. Luckily, I'm thrilled to, El Charo Hipster Bar, Francisco came into my shop and he actually bought a Giclée, a copy, which is this cool old tower that I have. It's a piece titled Check Your Oil, and it's hanging right up in the bar when you walk in the back door. It is front and center.
Wow.
I'm just blown away at the positioning, and he is such a supporter of local art, and so I was thrilled that happened. And then I've also been doing a weekly class at a recovery center. So I go and I hang out and we talk about art and I try and encourage them and try and show them little tricks or things that I do. And lately we've been doing decoupage and collage because they got a little bored after 3 weeks of painting. I can paint all the time, but they want to do some gluing and some things. And so we're finding new ways to entertain ourselves and be creative.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for sharing really impactful stories. And we'll be back. We're going to take a commercial break. And we'll let you know how you guys can get connected with Adam and Adrian to continue doing more work here in Phoenix. Stay tuned. This is
Hola, soy Adriana Cota
y Saraía Ahumada.
Te invitamos a escucharnos el primer miércoles de cada mes en el podcast Con Sal y Limón,
en donde estaremos hablando de finanzas por Frecuencia Alterna Radio.
And we're back on Sin Filtro, and then lastly, just to close out the interview here with Adrian, Adam, and DeeDee. So lastly, how can somebody get involved? How can somebody get in touch with each and every one of you guys?
Well, basically, my job is finished with the planters. They're all painted, but if you, there might be an occasion where one gets ruined or graffitied and it may need to be painted again, and if the artist can't fix the damage, then I'm here. My Instagram is DeeDee Blase, and basically it's done though.
Yeah,
and
okay.
So these guys are more artists. I'm an artist as a writer, but these guys are the
She
real
paints
artists.
too.
I'm a full-time artist, also a wall curator and consultant. You can get a hold of me at my Instagram. It's ADRIAN_GRRCYA, or you can email me at unitedartists@gmail.com. If you have some upcoming workshops, because I work with the youth, if you have any like mural ideas that you want to make happen, just message me. I'm really quick on responding to everyone and trying to make some things happen, especially with community and stuff like that. So,
Well, you could find me at Caged Heart Gallery on Instagram, and you can also get the lids at the shop, 1325 Grand Avenue. I like to talk about our First Friday because I know at Roosevelt Row it jumps off, it's nuts, streets are closed, a lot of people. But if you come over to Grand Avenue, it is chill. You can park there.
Yeah, I love the vibes.
There's a grip of restaurants.
Yeah.
You'll walk around, you'll find these little pockets of entertaining people. There will be people playing music on the street, people painting. You'll find plenty to do, all the way from the Oasis to the Egyptian and everything in between. But it's family friendly, it's a chill vibe, and it's like the true industrial heart of creativity is still going on Grand.
Totally.
So I invite you.
I totally agree with you. And yes, so it keeps growing, keeps getting better. And well, lastly, I just want to thank you guys for coming out, taking the time to be on this interview.
Thank you.
We got to keep doing what we're doing, and get the people coming out to do some more art. And this is Sin Filtro, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. Give this video a like, share. And we'll see you next Thursday at 6 p.m.